This is Calibos, and we are playing Project Ozone 3. So, we are now progressing a little bit further on the path to my laziness. Which means we want to make the slice and splice, which we should have the ability to make now. And what are we waiting on? Alright. So, one slice and splice. Now, we also have a little bit of a quest on the way, so let's go ahead and make 12 of these. I'm not really worried about whether we're going to use them or not. Oh, well, that's the other option, is I guess we could have done this. So we're making it the hard way when we could just do that. So let's go ahead and pull this out of the alloy furnace. And let's put it in a pattern terminal, because that will save us time. There we go. But we have a quest for this, for the solarium here. Soul chassis. I probably should have checked for this beforehand. Oh my gosh. The simple machine chassis is kind of... Switch this to iron. See what I was saying about it requiring specific things. See if we can find it in here. Come on. If I were a simple machine chassis, where would I be in this list? There it is. Perfect. And we can get rid of that. We can get rid of that. Boom, boom. Let's go ahead and toss some more patterns in there. I'd like to go ahead and set up as many of these. 256. Okay. I'd like to set up as many of these as I can, as far as the we need an advanced cell. And apparently some more crafting storage. Alright, so let's swap this out for another one. Let's get everything out of here. because it occurs to me when we're looking at, if we look at our stuff, sort by number of items, if we have 95,000 jade essence, that actually requires more than one storage cell location to do. So that's kind of an issue. Let's just get rid of that, toss it in there. So, yeah, this is just going to take a second, and then we'll go back to our previously scheduled thing. I should have done this off camera. But, you know, life is kind of busy and complicated right now. And that's all there is to it. Anyway, so looking at our quest book, we have soul chassis, and you remember we spent a little bit of time setting that up. So we have the soul chassis. We have the slice and splice. And now we need a soul binder. So, what does a soul binder require? Oh, conveniently, it requires a soul machine chassis. So let's chuck that back in there. And now we want a soul binder. Perfect. So slice and splice is one of those weird things. How we want to do this. So that's purple, that's pink, that's a chunk loader. So this has 3 channels. So I'm going to put the slice and splice here. We're going to get an interface out. Interface. Second to craft because we have a lot going on. Oh, yeah, it really does have a lot going on. What is it making? So what I may end up doing, because that just takes forever, is I may end up coming over here, infusing, enriching, infusing, compressing. Is we may end up going to mechanism for some of this because it just takes forever. I mean, it's taking longer because we have more and more and more things going on, so we're just gonna slap that there. So if this is the this is the front, so we're gonna look at the left side of the interface here, and we're gonna put push and pull. So we're going to need where is it? It's up here. Let's look in here at capacitors. Oh, no. Let's look at here at capacitors. Capacitor. Nice, hungry, good, enhanced, explosive, crushed. Hot wonder capacitor, maybe. Villainous wonder capacity. So let's check this one out and see what it does for us. Alright, now we need to give it some power. So out. Oh, monkeys. I just cleared it. Alright, so now it has power. And we need to be exporting axes and shears into it. So axe. Problem is, axes are one of the things that we dump. So, I mean, I'll just make 10. I'm not super worried about it. And then we're just going to tell it, because it has a recipe for them, we can simply tell it to export an axe into it. And now, well, it should, here, let's just pull this out and see if it really does it. It should do it. We also need a set of shears. Oh, it's not. Never mind. I'm an idiot. It won't. It won't do it because of we can't tell it to craft in the interface. It won't do that. So we're actually going to need an export bus, and we're going to need a crafting card. Crafting card, export bus, smarts cable. So we'll actually just put that there. And that. And we'll pull this out and this out. We're going to tell it, oh, we need a capacity card too. So this. And now it crafts that. I'm not sure that it can handle the one without whatever. So let's get an undamaged shear. I mean, I could use a fuzzy card. Let's pull all the damaged stuff out. It is unnecessary and doesn't stack. And it doesn't have a recipe for it yet, so we'll make one. Alright, perfect. So now we can toss this and it will make them whenever we want. So this is always going to have shears and an iron axe whenever it can. So one of the things that we were looking at is we wanted to make the ender wireless charger. So we want this one, so we want the ender resonator. So we'll switch this out here, clear that. Wireless charger. Oops. Ender resonator. And go. So clear that, clear that. And now we should just be able to put this recipe in here and tell it we want an ender resonator. So one of the cool things about the slice and splice is it automatically places things in the spots that they need to go. Oh, let's check to see if that's a quest. I don't see it, but we've got the soul binder, so we'll go for that. Dimensional transceiver. Just need one of those. So let's look at the wireless charger again. Wireless charger. Like so. Now we can make these. We're probably going to make a couple of these and scatter them around. And I think we need one. We have to make electrical steel and basic capacitors. So electrical steel should be pretty easy. And basic capacitors, again, should be pretty easy. Basic capacitor. Like so. And then we'll want to look up this recipe. Toss these in here. These have gotten a lot more complicated. So wireless. Alright, hit me. So these are pretty cool, and all you really do is I'm just gonna slap this against a power thing, and that's the range. So if you'll notice, our wireless crafting terminal is charging. How's that, right? So now whenever we're in the center here, this will charge. There's got to be a way to... And if you shift right click, it shows you the area. So I'm not super worried about it because we spend enough time in here, and then right click to turn it off. We spend enough time in here that it's not really a giant deal. Now I do not remember if the soul binder is a thing that we can automate very easily. Now we shouldn't need to be automating the soul binder. So put that on top. There we go. So it needs a capacitor. Now technically, you remember the basic capacitors, we can use those. Oh, it's hard on it's on the bottom. We can use those, but let's see what this one does. There's actually a list of what they all do and what the keywords mean and stuff like that. Seems fine though. It's not starving. So now that we've got that done, let's look at dimensional transceivers. So dimensional transceivers are Ender IOs, power item and fluid transportation across dimensions. And it's not just across dimensions, but really anywhere. So we need octadic capacitors and ender crystals, and we have everything else. So let's look at octadic capacitors. What the heck is an energized? Energized. Weird. Okay, octadic capacitor, which requires double layer capacitors and vibrant alloy ingots. So let's look at the double layer capacitors, which requires the basic capacitors and pulverized coal. And so now we were looking at the dimensional transceiver. Let's see what else we need. So now all we need is the ender crystal. That would be this. We need a soul binder, so we need a vibrant crystal with an enderman, whatchamacallit, enderman soul. So you have to go find an enderman and then right click him with a thing. But the vibrant crystal is pretty easy. So now we need a soul vial. We have 236 shulker soul vials. Why do we have shulker soul vials? Weird. This goes ahead and sets us up. Now all I have to do is go capture an enderman. That should actually be reasonably easy. Just make these soul vials. Fused quartz. processing, fused quartz, one of these, and go. Now this has to be done with the whatchamacallit, the alloy smelter. But we'll go ahead and look into this in the next episode. I'm gonna have to like do a little bit of wrangling to get my hands on some Enderman. But we made some progress. You know, we now no longer have to charge our wireless crafting terminal. It will stay charged on its own, which is pretty handy, and recharge when we get home. But I hope you liked this episode. If you did, leave me a like. If you didn't, don't. I got some complicated stuff coming up in the next week or so, so I'm not sure how regular my episodes are going to be. But I'm gonna certainly give it a try, and I'll make up any episodes that I miss. So, yep. If you liked it, leave me a like. If you didn't, tell me why so I can fix it. Questions, comments, concerns, they can all go below. And yeah, you folks have a great night.